All honor to God the Father, in the name of Jesus Christ.
Have you ever felt called to something greater but a lack of resources has held you back? Have you ever looked around with the sense that a greater purpose awaits you, but bills, debt, fear of failure, and a lack of opportunity seem like an insurmountable wall? Perhaps you've even dreamed of a business, a mission, a project that could change your life and bless countless others. But you were forced to shelve that vision because you simply had no way to get started. What if I told you that the Bible offers a clear and practical answer to this kind of financial and emotional paralysis? What you're about to discover may surprise you, because we're not talking about a famous figure like David or Moses, but about an ordinary man who was neither a prophet, nor a king, nor a priest, yet who led one of the greatest reconstructions in biblical history. His name? Nehemiah, a simple cupbearer who became a visionary strategist, responsible for restoring the walls of a destroyed city, driven by faith, courage, wisdom, and principles that still work perfectly in the modern world. Nehemiah teaches us that prospering with God goes far beyond praying for financial miracles. He shows us that planning, emotional intelligence, clear vision, and strategic action are powerful spiritual tools, and that true biblical wisdom about money lies not only in receiving blessings, but in knowing how to manage them with excellence. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever felt like you have a mission in your heart, but seem to lack the proper means to carry it out? Nehemiah went through exactly that. He saw the chaos, wept over the destruction, but he didn't stop there. He prayed, planned, asked the right people for the right resources, assembled teams, and executed even in the face of resistance, shortages, and threats. And all of this without holding a major spiritual degree. Sound familiar? Stay with me until the end, because in the next few minutes we'll delve into principles that will open your eyes and perhaps change your perspective on finances, faith, and purpose. This video isn't just about Nehemiah. It's about you, about your calling, your project, your purpose. It's about that idea you've put off, that dream that seems too far away. It's about leaving fear behind and entering into strategic faith, where you understand that you don't need to have everything to get started, but you do need to start with everything you have, trusting that God multiplies what is used wisely. This is where biblical financial education becomes alive, practical, and possible. And if Nehemiah, without possessions or prestige, was able to move empires and rebuild cities, what's stopping you from transforming your reality today? Sometimes what holds you back isn't a lack of money, but a lack of clarity, structure, and wisdom to act. And all of this is available, accessible in Scripture. In the next part, you'll discover exactly how Nehemiah did it, and how to apply each principle to your financial life today. True transformation begins when we understand that wealth is not just what we accumulate, but what we consciously build. Most people don't realize they live on autopilot, repeating inherited patterns, afraid to break cycles. And therein lies the trap. Because those who live trapped in a limited mindset rarely see the next level. Mephibosheth, for example, was a descendant of kings, but lived hidden in poverty because he no longer believed in who he really was. The trauma of the fall, the abandonment, the shame, all of this obscured his true identity. How many people live the same way today? They have a calling, a purpose, immense potential, yet they sit on the sidelines as if they had to settle for life's crumbs when they could participate. This is the difference between those who know their worth and those who simply survive. And in the financial world, this applies even more. There are people who were born to lead, to undertake, to prosper with purpose. But they accepted to live limited by the fear of making mistakes, by frustrating experiences, or by words they heard that made them distrust themselves. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because often what blocks our progress isn't a lack of opportunities, but a lack of internal preparation to recognize and seize them. And this begins with a reprogramming of the mindset. When you believe you don't deserve it, that you'll never get out of the red, that money is evil, or that getting rich is a sin, your entire internal system begins to reject abundance, even when it knocks at the door. It's like someone who refuses to open a gift because they feel unworthy of receiving it. Mephibosheth only saw his fortune restored when he decided to leave Lodabar, that place of forgetfulness and scarcity, to answer the king's call. He did nothing to earn it, but he had to accept it. And this is one of the biggest obstacles I see in finance. People who pray for change, but aren't willing to move toward it. They wait for it to fall from the sky, not understanding that faith and action go hand in hand. True transformation requires the courage to step out of one's comfort zone, face inner truths, rethink decisions, and rebuild one's self-perception. So if this content resonates with you, please comment below. I'm on this journey too. I'd love to know if this reflection resonates with you. It helps me understand where this message is coming from and who is truly committed to this change. Financial change begins from within, but it is consolidated from without, in daily decisions, silent habits, and invisible choices. When Nehemiah decided to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he didn't start with bricks. He began with a prayer, then with a plan, and only then did he get to work. And this is one of the most important keys for anyone seeking to transform their financial life. Today, understanding that rebuilding requires strategy. It's useless to ask for a blessing without organizing the house, without knowing where every penny goes, without closing the invisible leaks that sap reserves. Nehemiah knew it wasn't enough to simply want to see the city restored. He needed to coordinate people, protect the process, and stay focused even in the face of criticism. Because the truth is that all reconstruction meets resistance. Whenever you try to change, recover, get out of debt, invest, or start a business, voices arise telling you it won't work. Sometimes they're external, but often they come from within. But Nehemiah didn't stop. And this is the attitude you must have with your finances. Don't stop at the first no. Don't give up at the first obstacle. Don't give up because someone says it's too risky. If God has given you a vision, He will sustain the mission, but you must remain steadfast. And here's a detail that almost no one notices. Nehemiah worked with one hand on his sword and the other on his bricks. This means that while he was building, he was also protecting himself. And in the financial world, this translates into something fundamental. A balance between growth and protection. There's no point in trying to multiply your income if you don't have an emergency fund. There's no point in seeking new investments if you're drowning in debt without planning. Biblical wisdom always points to balance. God's blessing adds no pain, so any plan that leaves you in constant anxiety needs to be reconsidered. Rebuilding, as Nehemiah did, requires purpose, vigilance, and perseverance. And above all, it requires the courage to begin. Even if the walls crumble, even if it seems too late, even if you think you don't have the resources. Nehemiah began with a willing heart, and that was enough for God to move heaven and earth on his behalf. If you too want to rebuild your financial life, start today with prayer, a plan, and action. This is the biblical model for those who want to prosper with purpose and security. There comes a time in the journey of those who wish to free themselves from scarcity when they must face their past head-on, not to cling to it, but to understand the origin of the patterns that still sabotage their results. When the people of Israel were freed from Egypt, God did not guide them directly to the promised land. Rather, He led them through a desert. This desert was not a punishment, but a healing. It was in the desert that God corrected the slave mentality that still imprisoned them, even after they were freed from captivity. And the same thing happens to many who try to change their financial lives without first changing their hearts. It's not enough to escape debt. You have to escape the scarcity mentality. It's not enough to increase your income. You have to heal the damaging relationship with money. Because if you don't address this, you will continue to experience cycles of loss, even when you earn more. The desert teaches dependence, resilience, and above all, it reveals what is truly within us. It was in the desert that God gave manna, demonstrating that sustenance does not come from a boss, a salary, or the government, but from divine faithfulness. And in the same way, it is in this place of transition that God often allows us to experience difficult times, to teach us that true security lies in Him, not in the numbers in our bank account. If you feel like you're in this financial desert, you should know that it can actually be a training ground, a time to learn to trust, organize, obey, and prepare your heart for the prosperity to come. Because there's no point in arriving at the promised land with the mindset of Egypt. You may have money, but if you lack vision, discipline, and maturity, you'll waste it all. How many people amass fortunes and lose it all in a short time? Because the problem was never a lack of resources, but rather a lack of an internal structure to sustain them. Therefore, allow God to heal your mind and heart in this process. Take advantage of this time to study, plan, seek wisdom, and make purposeful decisions. And if this content resonates with you, share what has moved you most so far in the comments. Your experience may encourage others who are also facing similar difficulties. And don't forget to like the video. It really helps this message reach more people. And if you want to continue with us on this path of faith and financial transformation, subscribe to the channel. Your participation here strengthens this community and allows us to continue producing content that edifies, teaches, and empowers. Let's continue together until the end of this journey. The best is yet to come. Now that we understand the value of the wilderness as a time of preparation, we need to delve into another essential principle: obedience in the small details. Many long for great blessings, but ignore simple instructions. The Bible shows this clearly in the story of Elisha and the debt-ridden widow. She had little oil, but she followed the prophet's every instruction to the letter. Gather the jars, enter the house, close the door, and pour out the oil. It seems insignificant, even absurd, but it was in this obedience that the miracle was manifested. The multiplication came not from the abundance she had, but from her faithfulness to the little. And this is a powerful key. The wealth God wants to pour into your life is connected to your ability to obey, even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes what you lack isn't more money, but direction, and you will only receive this direction when you learn to listen and obey, even in the simplest things. Many despise small beginnings, but it is precisely in them that God tests our willingness and prepares the ground for something greater. Biblical wisdom teaches us that he who is faithful in a little is also faithful in much. This is true when it comes to money, time, talents, and opportunities. So, before you ask for doors to be opened, ask yourself, what have I been doing with what I've already received? Are you managing your current salary well? Are you using your limited free time purposefully? Are you being generous even with limited resources? The answer to these questions determines the magnitude of the next step God will allow you to take. And it's not about deserving, but about being ready. God doesn't give unlimited resources to those who still squander theirs. And perhaps this is your greatest challenge today, developing the discipline to manage little well. So, reflect honestly. Have you honored God with your financial decisions, even in simple everyday purchases? Have you asked for guidance before investing, before spending, before acting? Because sometimes the breakthrough you hope for isn't in earning more, but in using it better. And when God sees faithfulness in the details, He is pleased to trust Him more. In the next section, we'll explore how generosity can be one of the most surprising keys to achieving abundance. Generosity, in light of the Bible, is not an optional gesture, but a spiritual key that activates profound dimensions of divine provision. While the world teaches that accumulating is the path to wealth, God shows us that giving is what opens the doors to abundance. In Proverbs, it is written, "A generous soul will prosper, and he who waters will also be watered." This means that what you release with faith and purpose comes back to you multiplied, not only in money, but also in opportunities, connections, wisdom, and peace. The widow of Zarephath, for example, was challenged to give her last loaf of bread to the prophet Elijah. To human eyes, this seemed like madness, but by obeying, she experienced continuous provision, where the flour and oil never ran out. This teaches us that generosity is not about having a lot, but about trusting completely. Don't wait until you have leftovers to start being generous. Start with what you have, and you will see God multiply what seemed insufficient. Because true wealth comes not only from what you accumulate, but from the impact your seed has on the lives of others. And here's a sincere invitation. If this message touched you in any way, share what moved you most in the comments. Your story could be what someone needs to read today. If you felt this content resonated with you, please give it a like now. This greatly helps the channel reach more people with these same words. And if you want to continue this path of growth based on biblical wisdom, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every comment, every like, every subscription is what sustains this project and allows us to reach further, bringing this message to those who need it most. Your participation here is more than just a commitment. It's also a form of ministry, a way to spread light, faith, and direction to thousands. Now that we understand the power of generosity, in the next video, we'll delve into how to face times of scarcity without losing faith or making impulsive financial decisions. Are you ready? Then, let's continue together. If you've made it this far, I want to sincerely thank you for your company and the time you took to reflect on this. It's truly special to be able to share with you content that goes beyond the superficial, bringing practical and inspiring wisdom to your financial and spiritual life. If this message resonated with you, please leave a comment here showing that you're with us on this journey. Something like, "I'll be with you until the end," or "This message was for me." Knowing that we're connected strengthens and motivates everything. And if this video provided you with something valuable, please give it a like, because it strengthens this learning chain and helps more people find answers to their challenges. It's a simple gesture, but it makes a difference in the continuity of the channel and in helping the message reach even further. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next content we've lovingly prepared to help you grow in faith, purpose, and prosperity. Here's a video that addresses this topic in a practical and in-depth way. Click and follow me so we can continue this journey of transformation together. See you soon. And perhaps right now, you feel that same weight on your heart, a burning call to achieve something great, to change your financial reality, to break cycles of scarcity. But at the same time, an invisible wall seems to hold you back. Bills pile up, dreams seem distant, and a feeling of helplessness invades you. Does God really care about your finances? Is there room for prosperity in the Christian faith? What you're about to discover might surprise you. The Bible does speak, and clearly, about financial purpose, strategies, wisdom, and prosperity, and Nehemiah is one of the most striking examples of this. He was just a cupbearer, with no religious title, no riches, no status. But he was used by God for a gigantic mission. And it wasn't by faith alone, but by the practical wisdom he sought, the ability to lead strategically, and the courage to face giants both external and internal. Stay with me because this can be a powerful revelation. And look, if at any point during this beginning you felt like I was speaking directly to you, perhaps this message is for you. So leave in the comments what has moved you the most so far. Share your experience, even your questions, because this space is also for that. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow, reaching other people who also need to hear this and continue producing this type of quality content. Give this video a like if it has made you reflect, even a little. And of course, if you feel the need to continue this journey with us, subscribe to the channel. Show that you want to walk with us, deepen your faith, and transform your perspective on finances based on the Word. This is a space for communion, learning, and liberation, and you are part of it. And now that you're connected, join me, because what Nehemiah teaches us about financial reconstruction goes far beyond what meets the eye.